I'm Scott Farber. Our guest today is Dorianne Cammarota, Community Life Director of Parkview Senior Community in Frisco, Texas, which is a suburb of Dallas. And Dorianne, we have you today because tell me what is going on in senior homes. How has life, it's just turned upside down out there.
It has turned upside down, but I will say that I feel that the staff and the residents have all handled it very well. I think at the beginning it was harder because we weren't used to these types of changes. So at first, as restrictions, got stronger and stronger, it was kind of like, what? And then, but as it kept coming, we were able to kind of accept it as, okay, we've got to learn to grow and adapt with this. And as a result, I feel like the staff and the residents have all done an amazing job really shifting how we do dining. I mean, with our dining room, that's one of the most popular places for residents to see each other, and they count on that regular time together 3 times a day. And here, the dining room had to completely shut down, and we started delivering all food in to-go boxes 3 times a day. So that was new for our dining staff, and then also new for the residents, not being able to be with their friends on those regular, time periods. And so one of the things that we started doing is I connected with the Frisco ISD and asked for them to start having students sending me emails with letters of encouragement, jokes, or just letters telling them about themselves. And we started taping those on all those boxes. And so that way, when the residents, since they couldn't get out of their rooms to go and eat, instead they could at least have some kind of, something encouraging or fun to look forward to at each meal, since they couldn't be with friends. And so that was really neat. The students from Frisco ISD, I just got tons and tons of emails from them. And again, we would just we're still doing it, taping them onto the to-go boxes. And the residents, you'll walk by some of their rooms and they have them taped up on their doors. Or if you go in their apartments, a lot of them have them taped up on their refrigerators and things like that. So that's kind of one aspect of as far as the dining, because that was such a big part of our residents' lives. And then also, with them not being able to see family members because we can't have outside visitors. We've, helped people to learn how to do Zoom meetings, and then also online doctor's visits. We've done many of those, and just different staff members will meet up with a resident. We'll take our laptop to either their apartment or we'll have them come to our office so they can have those types of meetings with their doctors. And then as far as, the activities and all of the fun that, that really it went by little, was taken away. But again, we found, just creative ways to kind of keep people's spirits up. And one of the things that I think has been one of the most appreciated is we've started playing music in our courtyards, because the residents are 3 stories high. So anyone who faces the courtyard can come out to their balconies, and we just play music on a loudspeaker. And all of the music was requested by residents. So it's not just some random set of music. Every song was chosen by a resident. And so people can gather, they can't be in groups, but they can sit outside in open areas. Like we have a garden, the swimming pool, and then another open courtyard area that you can hear the music from, as well as all those balconies. And so we do that 3 times a week, where they can just sit out there. And music is such a wonderful part of life that really can bring us joy and bring back memories. And so for the residents, it's been wonderful, because as they sit and listen to these songs, it kind of takes away that reminder that they're not able to be with family, and they're not able to, play, poker and these other things that they would get together to do, art classes, all of that. And it really does bring about a sense of joy. And we have that music playing about 3 hours on each of the days that we play it. So those are some of the ways that we've tried to, bring about something different when we've had to get rid of so much.
Now, the change was really dramatic. Have you found that I think in some cases, did it help people take care of themselves better because they realized they had to become self-sufficient again? Did you notice any of that?
I would say yes, but I would say also that people would also find ways to help each other. For example, some of the residents said, hey, could I get a list of, could I start calling some people on this list just to check on them? And they said, yeah. I was like, yes, let's do it. And So that was really fun. We had about 10 residents who would call about 10 people. So it's 100 people right there getting phone calls just saying, hey, it's so-and-so, just want to check and see how you're doing. We had another person who turned 89, and she has gone through a very challenging time recently. And so for her birthday, one of the residents said, hey, could we have as many people write her cards as possible for her birthday? And again, this was resident driven. It wasn't my idea. It's a way of them looking out for each other, not just looking out for themselves, but looking out for each other. And so I had sent a flyer out to all the doors saying, hey, this person's birthday is coming up. If you, they couldn't go to the grocery store at the time. So I said, if you would like a card, leave this on your door and I'll get a card to you. And my plan was to go and, pick up however many cards. And I had, about 80 responses. And the morning that I was going to go and buy cards, a resident's daughter called me and she said, hey, I used to work for American Greetings and I have about 100 beautiful birthday cards. Would you have any use for them? And I thought, of course, perfect timing. And so, we were able to get these beautiful cards and I was able to stick them on the residents' doors. They wrote the most beautiful messages to this lady. And whenever I delivered them to her on her birthday, she just couldn't believe it. She said, I've never gotten this many cards in my life. And her son ended up calling us about it. And again, it wasn't just them, kind of taking care of themselves better, but it also has really brought about a sense of them figuring out creative ways that they can care for each other. But then also with technology, I think it has stepped it up for them in a lot of really good ways. A lot of people were not really interested in growing in their technological abilities. And, with the Zoom calls and all that, that really has, like I said, the doctor, it has kind of helped them to go, all right, let's try this out. And they see that it's working. And so I think that's a new way for them to grow, which is fun.
So now you're in the Dallas area. Do you talk to any of the other communities about what they're doing, what works, what doesn't work, during these lockdowns?
I haven't really been in contact with other Dallas communities, but we are owned by Watermark Communities, and they have about 60 plus communities, and we have a Google group that we all are sharing ideas with, which has been terrific because we can all kind of bounce off of each other of what has really been beneficial, what's been meaningful, and things like that. And we'll upload pictures so that we can all see what the other ones are talking about. And so we've been doing like a lot of door-to-door deliveries because, in this time, a lot of people are getting lonely. And so my associate and I, we are going door to door every week. And before this happened, we knew a lot of the residents well, but because there's over 200, there's about 250 residents here, just in our independent living. And I would say there were several that we really didn't have relationships with, but now that we're going door to door, we dress up, we bring them chips and salsa or whatever it is that day. And it's been really fun because going to their apartments, I feel like we've gotten to know them on a very different level. So it's been really wonderful.
And now that you're starting to loosen the restrictions as they are across the country now in senior homes, are there any fears of how that's going to take place, or is it too fast, too soon?
I'm going to say that none of it has been fear-driven or fear-filled. I think that our leadership has really dealt with complete wisdom across the board. They've been more cautious than lenient, I would say. And even though that can be frustrating, I think that the residents have appreciated it, overall. And then as we haven't opened up much yet, but as we're preparing and planning for that, I think that we are not fearful, but instead I think that we're moving forward with wisdom and, learning, again, talking to each other and trying to decide what's going to be the very best way to do this. And so I think we're more excited than fearful, but at the same time, wise and cautious to the degree that we need to be.
And as the lockdown, everything eases up, we'll get back to you to see how things are going in a couple of weeks.
That'd be great. I'm very excited about it.
Dorianne, thank you so much.
Yes, you're welcome.